I like to put them in the freezer.
Yes.
You know, like
Thin mints for sure.
Thin Mints in the freezer for
Yeah,
sure, and then the peanut butter, the chocolate-covered peanut butter ones with the little graham. Those are good in the freezer too. There's this, was it Little Debbie used to make these like wafer bars when I was a kid. I
Yeah,
used to
like
throw
the
them in.
peanut butter and the
Oh
chocolate.
my
Yep.
gosh, man, those are so good. Oh.
Wait, the Nutty Buddies?
Yes, dude. Oh, nutty, but yeah,
That's what
yeah.
you're talking about?
Or even put a ho-ho in the freezer. Oh man, yeah.
Just becomes an ice cream bar almost.
Exactly. Yeah.
How's
Right,
it going?
Brass tacks here,
Yeah, let's keep
No,
talking
yeah.
Important
desserts.
stuff.
eh? I'm hungry. No, it's going well. It's going well. I think we had a good stretch of games that we put together there. A little deviation, these past 2 games. I don't think it was really characteristic of us, how we want to play. So, try and eliminate those things that we did this past game, and move forward. I think there's still a lot of hockey to be played. I know our March and April schedules are pretty heavy, and I think in April we'd play 15 games, 30-something days, whatever it is. So, I mean, that game every other day, essentially. So, we will definitely analyze those last 2 games, like, pretty heavily because, habitually we don't want to carry anything, bad down the line here. So, I think as we move towards playoffs and the latter half of this season, our habits are really what are going to carry us through these times, especially because it's a lot of hockey to be played. We're just over halfway through the season, or just about. So there's still a lot of opportunity, a lot of games. The standings can change, and we have to respect every team. So I think our focus is just on staying together as a group and holding each other accountable, at all times, and making sure our standard doesn't slip at all.
It's nice to have a full week of practice after that before you get back into 3-3, or?
Yeah, I guess it's not even really a full week, right? Like 2 days of practice in a row. It's a premium around here, but no, it is definitely nice to get some of that in. I feel like we haven't practiced more than like a day or so, or even like a morning skate, in the past couple weeks. So it'll definitely be good. I think as we're a pretty young team as is, so I think those practice days are crucial for us, especially down the stretch here. And just like I alluded to before, like it's always good to like stay together and have fun, and just even when we don't have things go our way, like those past 2 games, like we can still come to the rink the next day and be happy to be here and put in a good day of work. So I think the coaches do a really good job of setting the tone with that. Like, yeah, like we're gonna work, but like we're also gonna enjoy doing it. And I think that's why we've had some success in the past here. And if we can just continue to have that stick-to-itiveness and stay together as a group here, I think we're really gonna like where we are come the end of April.
You had another brief call up. How is that tricky for you, and what's your mindset? We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Is it the same kind of mindset where you just focus on the Hogs right now and the future will happen?
It's challenging, right? Because you have such a deep kinship with the guys here, and personally you want to go up there and perform really well and do well for yourself. But I'd be lying if I said like I kind of wanted to win with this group here too. I want to contribute as much as I can up there because I want to play in the NHL and I want to be an everyday player there, and I want to play for a long time. But when you're in a place for so long, like say in Rockford here, and you kind of form those deep personal relationships with these guys, and especially some of the younger guys, and if you've watched them elevate their games, and you've seen them grow so much, like you kind of really appreciate those people so much more. And it's definitely challenging bouncing up and down, where I do have a relationship with the guys up top, but it's different because I haven't been like up there as recently or as long, so in many ways like have like deeper relationships with the guys here. And so yeah, it's kind of like a double entendre, right? You're happy to go up and you want to contribute, for yourself in your personal career. And then also you have that same, ideation when you come down here, but it's just different, it's different to, bounce up and down.
And down here, you're the veteran. And not only that, but you're constantly getting action out there. And it's got to be a little different feel, and you
Sure.
can work your game more. I know you guys have always said that about being down here and being on the ice all the time.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good point that you made. I mean, when you go up to Chicago, you have Marc-Andre Fleury, Hall of Fame goalie, so you're counted on in a different way. You still have to be ready and professional and take care of your body and mind as well. But when you have a bigger role, especially coming here, I don't know, you definitely feel like you can contribute a little more, to the team's overall success. I mean, in Chicago, you can do that as well, having good practices and helping the guys get ready. So that's really like my role up there as well. It's like getting those guys ready and making sure I'm sharp, so that when they go into the game, they've been going against a goalie in practice that's, playing as hard as he can. So it's going to simulate some game action. But also for me, it's important to stay sharp. My prerogative when I went up to Chicago was, I don't know how long I'm going to be up here for, but I want to make sure my habits are tight, and I really want to, challenge myself, with these guys up here, and I want to even get better up there. I don't think we can just get better, in Rockford in the AHL, but it's definitely a different aspect of progression in your game. When you come down here to Rockford, there's definitely more of, we have that history of, developing, people, so that there's that overarching, emphasis, right? But when you go up to Chicago, you're like, oh, okay, it's time to contribute. It's time to, showcase that development. But you're still growing as a player when you go up there, for sure. But yeah, just back to what you were saying initially, I think, like it's been great, to get some time in with Pete, and obviously like Jimmy is an invaluable part of the organization as well. But I've spent definitely more time with Pete, so there's a greater understanding of my game, and I think, yeah, being one of the older guys, some guys like maybe in some ways look to me, for guidance and not just with words, but maybe with action as well. But in many ways, I'm just a big kid too, so I think, I can offer, some advice, but I think what's great is like they keep us young too, like I was talking to my fiance Ava the other day, and I'm like, yeah, I'm almost 28, I'm getting old, she's like, oh my gosh, you're not getting old. I'm like, yeah, but like in this industry, like it's kind of like a half-life, like 35 is a great career, anything past that is just the cherry on top. But yeah, no, I think we just have so many good people here, and I want to be a part of, this stretch run, going deep in the playoffs. And I think it would just be a disservice to these guys if we, didn't, do everything that we could and, push as hard as we can for this next little bit here to, obviously get into playoffs. And then, we would get into playoffs, and I mean, the saying, it's trite but true. It's like you get into playoffs and you kind of see what happens. It's a whole nother world. It's playoff hockey. Like it's going to be a great experience for our young guys to, get their feet wet, in the professional game and have some playoff hockey experience. And I know I did it my first year. We went really deep. I think we went to the Western Conference Finals, and those were invaluable experiences that now I want to help transfer. Those lessons that I learned, I want to help transfer those, to the young guys in our organization. And I don't know how much longer like I'll be with this organization, but I think it's my duty and my obligation to, help guide and groom the next generation, even though, there's a possibility that I may not be here. Like that's part of my obligation, I think, personally and professionally, because, I had so many great mentors, that helped me do the same, so.
You've also kind of been a fan favorite off the ice through your years here. Have you been able to interact with the fans or the community as much with the COVID situation this year?
Unfortunately not. I think that's one of the more challenging aspects of, COVID, and it's just not as personal, as it has been in the past. So, yeah, it's definitely challenging. Like the other week I got in trouble because, I took a picture with a fan when I wasn't playing, and it was trouble, whatever. I mean, kind of like, hey, you can't do that. Yeah, come on, you can't do that. But it's just hard, because I think I really care about, our community, and, you know, the social fabric here that